Right, back on a Ferguson, massey Ferguson. So when you split it there, and just split it just a bit, and you can let the oil drain then into your bucket. And thing to take note of is where the drain plug is, because you could drain it out of there. In the past what I've done, I've scored them across here, and you always put them back in the same place then. But somebody else has been here before and I don't think they've bothered with that, so there's no point me taking much notice of it. As soon as the oil's drained, I'll pull that off and I'll show you the gears inside. So inside now, see, there's the half shaft. That's the inner seal, which that seals onto the half shaft here, and that keeps the back end oil separate to this epicyclic gearbox. Here's your ring gear. Your ring gear splits off there. You've got a gasket in there that needs to be changed, and another one the same. That gasket sits on there, and then there's one in there, so you want two gaskets. They're composite cork material, and then there's your reduction gear bearing. We're going to leave that in place. These outer planet gears, they've got to be removed and the pins drawn, and there's bearings inside them, and then we get that centre gear out. Then we can press this shaft out of this hub, which usually takes a fair bit of pressure, but we'll get round to that as we go. Right, 178 wheel up, so this is same for 100 series, 200 series, 500 series, 600s, 300s, 42s, 43s, right? Anything for banner lane, if you've got a reduction hub on it, it's going to look somewhat like this when you get inside it. So we've got a standard epicyclic unit, we've got the sun gear in the middle there, and then the planet gears, and the ring gears stopped on the tractor. Now the hub's loose now, and the bearing and the hub seal is in there, and that's where the leak is. That's the quarter shaft, and it's pressed into that piece. Interference fit. So I'm going to go through the process now, stripping this down. First we're going to remove planet gears, and then the sun gear, then we're going to press it out. So I'll keep you informed. She's Graham, our glamorous assistant. So I've got a little grub screw, and all that's doing, it's going into the pin, and there's a locating hole. On some models you're going to find a roll pin straight through, and all you do is you knock that inwards, and you can get your fingers down and catch it. That's on the later models, but this early 100 series. Now on the end, I don't know if you can see it on here, when they fit them in the factory, they get a chisel behind and peen the end over to stop them coming undone. Now when we refit them, we're not going to do that, we're just going to use Loctite, because this is a lot older than before they had Loctite. So when you've got those out, you find the right thread. In this case it's UNF, but some are bigger, some are smaller, it depends what model you're working on. You're going to draw the pin. They shouldn't be tight, because they're going to have bearing running inside them. So you draw the pin out, simple as, and when we look down the hole, you can see the needle roller bearings all sat there. Now they're loose, there's no cage, and when we pull it out, they're all going to go plink, plink, plink in the bottom. So what we're going to do, we're going to cover them in petroleum jelly or grease to stop that happening. Be liberal with it, get plenty down there. What that's going to do is going to stick them together. And then when you draw it, don't just draw it by the gear, there's a little shim plate. If you draw it on the shim plate, it's hard with one hand here, as it comes out, the bearings don't slide through, and you get them out all in one hit like that. And if I pull that top one off now, See how you've got the bearings all stuck? That's what you want, because putting all them back in is just going to save you a load of time if you can leave them where they are. So that's a good tip. Right, so I'm miserable now because my little tip worked and all the bearings have dropped out the bottom and gone plink, plink, plink. So I've put them back in. That's probably took me 10 minutes. But to note now, the shims that sit on the top and the bottom, when you come to it, you'll find 2 of them are that shape, 1 of them's that shape, and that's because one of the holes is a different shape to allow you to withdraw the sun gear. So you're not going to be able to get it wrong because it'll only come out through that one. There's no bearings or anything on him, so that's easy. So now we strip that out. You can see the spline. That's where the quarter shaft's pressed into the hub. So what we've got to do now, we've got to put 2 bars through, sit it in a press and press that out. That's where the fun begins.